Hello to my friends in Turkey, whom this video is for. I'd like to do a video on how to use a mouse properly. A mouse is a very dangerous tool to use because we use it improperly. People purchase ergonomic mice, but you don't need a special mouse to move properly. You can, and actually, if you even have an ergonomic mouse, you can still use that improperly. So I'm going to show you how to use a mouse if you're injured or to prevent injury. First of all, actually, let me take the battery out so that I don't click anything on my computer. So when I took the battery out, notice I did not use my finger to pry it out, because that would isolate a finger, and you don't want to isolate a finger. So I'm just going to pop it out and use gravity to do it. I use my arm to do it. So when using a mouse, there are a couple of things you need to be aware of. First of all, let's talk about the anatomy. These are your flexor muscles right here. I don't have very many, or mine are not very well defined. I'm pretty scrawny and weak. So these are your flexor muscles. If you flex your fingers, you might be able to see these moving. These are the flexor muscles. They attach to a tendon. The tendon, you can feel the tendons in here. Don't press on them. You can feel the tendons here. The tendons attach to the fingers, and when you flex these muscles, it pulls the tendon, which pulls the fingers. There are no muscles in the fingers, so these don't move by muscle, they move by tendons. And up here are your extensor muscles. You can see those moving. And there they are. There's an extender tendon right here. You can see those above the knuckles of every finger. And they extend the fingers forward. Flex, extend. Notice you can't flex and extend at the same time. Well, actually you can if you isolate a finger, but as I said, when peeling the battery out, you don't ever want to isolate a finger. Because if you isolate a finger, it creates a pull, a force vector or dual muscular pull. And tendons don't like to be pulled in two directions at the same time. What happens when you do pull a tendon in two directions at the same time, it strains the tendon. It can create little micro tears on the tendon. And tendons don't heal very quickly because they don't have a blood supply. So a tendon can take 6 months to 2 years to heal, depending on how bad the injury is. So if you are injured and you have pain, then you got to be really careful. But the benefit of having pain is that you know when you move wrong or incorrectly. So first thing you want to do is never ever rest your forearm on your table, because then people will use the wrist to move the mouse, and this is really bad for the wrist right here, and I'm not going to explain why, but just don't do it. This is called ulnar deviation. This is radial deviation, and it's bad for the wrist. It's bad for the tendons. Instead, you want to hover above the table. So you may need to change the height of your seat, or if you're standing, you may want to stack books under your mouse so it's higher. But you want to hover over the table and never ever rest the forearm on the table like this. So this is how you move a mouse, from the shoulder and the elbow. As you use your shoulder and elbow to move the mouse moves effortlessly. It's just like waxing a window or waxing a car. You never use the wrist. Okay? And if you're not using the mouse, then you just set it down and let it go and rest your hand or do whatever else you're doing. But when you use the mouse, you hover. And you just hold it gently. It should fall right out of your hands too. So, next dangerous thing about the mouse is this little button. First of all, let me show you. If you rest your elbow, I don't have much space here, but if you rest your elbow on your table and then let your finger touch the table, the tips of your finger touch the table, you notice you have this arch here, and this is a very solid arch. As I poke the table, never press, don't ever press on anything. As I poke the table like this with my fingers, I can feel the power or the gravitational weight of my arm coming through the wrist. This is very solid right here. Through the wrist, through this bone, and through the tips and into the table. That's a good solid balance right there. The bones, when all the bones line up, you got a tremendous power of the fingers. But if you do something with a flat finger, so if you lay your arm flat and press down with your finger like you would with a mouse, all that tension is going right through the tendon. I injured my tendon, so I can feel it if I press with a flat finger. I can feel the tension in the tendon. So you never want to press with a flat finger. Instead, you want the curve of a finger. You know, when your arm is relaxed, you naturally have this curve. So you want to maintain that curve whenever you do anything. And so the curve is still there, but the mouse is holding my fingers open. So when you move your mouse, you hover. And when you want to press the key, you want to maintain a curve. And there are two things you can do. You can use gravity to press the key by letting the weight of the arm or gravity just press the button of the key. I'm not using my finger at all. I'm using just gravity to press it. In fact, I would actually use my middle finger to do it, to be honest, because of the alignment of the middle finger being straight in the forearm. If you use the other finger, you want to make subtle adjustments. Even if you use the pinky, you need to make an adjustment of the elbow and the forearm, but I'd use the middle finger. So you can drop gravity into the key to the button to press it, or you could forward shift into it from the elbow. So if I was to poke something, I'd use the elbow to poke. I wouldn't use the finger to poke. I can feel the tension right there. You poke like this. So you want to poke into the key. If you have pain, even that might be painful, and you might want to put tape here or tape something here as a little dam, so that when you do poke, you hit that, whatever you tape here at the end. And then your finger won't go any further, because my finger's sliding right now. And so you want to just be able to poke the key and not have any flexation at all. So you have the alignment of the bones. The bones press the button. The tendons and the muscles don't. So you want to use the bones whenever you can because of their alignment. And they're strong and powerful when all of these little bones here are all aligned. The reason why you never want to isolate a finger is because the tendons, as I said earlier, don't like to be pulled in two directions at the same time. So one thing people do if they're typing, they may abduct their fingers. That's abduction, spreading the fingers out. And the abductor muscles are all in here, and these muscles spread the fingers out. But then, if you flex the fingers too, I can feel this pulling. I can feel tension all over my forearm. When you abduct and flex, it creates the vector force where two muscles are pulling on the bone. So if you isolate a finger, now my flexor is flexing this finger up, but these flexors are flexing these fingers down, and these extensors are flexing this finger up. And even though I'm not technically flexing and extending one bone, they're all still interconnected and pulling on one another. So whenever you isolate a finger, you're creating all these pulls. And the same thing happens if you're clicking a button with a flat finger, you're still isolating and flexing at the same time. So the key is to simply use alignment of all the bones to press the button so that you're not using the muscles. If you're unlucky or lucky enough to have pain already, you'll always know when you do it wrong because you will feel pain. But whenever you move, or if you are able to drop weight down into the button and not have pain, you did it correctly. So it's actually beneficial to have pain. And if you currently have pain, I suggest 3 things. 1, always move properly. 2, do contrast baths. Get 2 plastic pails. I would do it in the bathtub. Fill one with hot water, as hot as you can tolerate, and the other one with ice cold water. And then plunge both arms into both. It could be one in hot and one in cold, or both in hot or both in cold. And then after 1 minute, switch places. And the reason why I suggest doing this in the tub is because the hot will cool down quickly. So you'll want to refill it from your tub. Or if you have a dual basin sink, then you can fill one side with hot and one with cold, and just rest your arms in it that way. And of course, the benefit of doing it in the tub is when you're done, you can just dump the water out. No, you don't have to carry anything. Third option is to get deep tissue massage therapy. A deep tissue massage therapist will feel the tendons, and she'll feel the little nodules of scar tissue on the tendons, and then she can knead them out. You can't really do that yourself. Actually, you can. They make devices that, little rolling devices that you can roll on your forearm, but a massage therapist would do a much better job because she's going to be feeling the tendons. So I hope this little video helps if anybody is injured and suffering from pain. If you have any questions, just send me a message and I'll try to answer them. So good luck.